Hey folks, Cheap Cheap Prepper here. As you can tell, this is episode 4. The topic of this episode is going to be spirituality. Um, first thing I have to do is separate spirituality and religion. And yes, there is a difference. Religion is believing in one specific line of thought from whatever you believe in. I believe in spirituality, where if you keep an open mind, you may come across some of the truth. I don't believe people ever come across the whole truth. I do believe in God as I understand it. I believe God is the all-knowing, omniscient or omnipotent energy that flows through everything. I also believe that it has sentience above what we can even begin to imagine. I believe that as a species on this planet, we are the physical manifestation of one part of that energy that some people call God. Something kind of hard to explain is, or my definition of why we are here. We are here to, one, pass the time. Two is to learn life's lessons. Basically answering the question of why. Going through an entire life, you're only going to learn maybe 2 to 4% at most of the life lessons that we are placed here to learn. That can be anything from humility to greed to love to hate. To learn to accept several different things. Friendship, compassion. There's probably a lot more that I just can't name. But, after living a life in this existence, after passing, as what we call dying, I believe that we go to purgatory. A lot of people won't agree with that, but I believe that purgatory is a place of rest and recuperation. It's very hard for the soul to leave its physical body, and when we leave this physical existence, I believe in purgatory that we, after recuperating and resting, we reincarnate. Now, before we reincarnate, we, as a soul, make some decisions. Generally, where we are going to incarnate, possibly who we're going to be friends with, who we're going to fall in love with. Not all souls are going to agree on what we decide, but that's why we have free will. Not just as a physical species, but as a soul, we have free will. We can decide on how long we wait before we reincarnate. I can't prove that we reincarnate. But it seems like a logical explanation because of the question that a lot of people ask, and that is why. I know people will probably give me a hard time because of the next statement that I'm going to make, and that is that I believe that nobody goes to what a lot of people call heaven, not until the Day of Judgment. And I believe that because nobody can enter heaven until they are judged. And the Day of Judgment hasn't come yet. So the only logical explanation is purgatory. It seems like an ugly name, but the people that our loved ones that have passed, I believe, are there or have reincarnated. We're not going to know who they are. We're not going to know that their soul is that of our past loved ones. But, we can accept that that purgatory is our final resting place until the Day of Judgment, because I believe it's in Revelations in the Bible, where it's part of the vision that, is it John or Paul? Either way, it's the vision of where, let's see, it's 24 elders, and excuse me, there's a kind of like a place where all the martyred souls are situated, and it's kind of like a large box, I guess, and I think it's God that tells them that they must wait a while longer, and that in my opinion is part of purgatory. It's a place that's reserved, part of purgatory that is reserved for those who have been martyred. So the spirituality topic kind of has to be followed up by evolution, and in the physical form, there's no spiritual evolution. The spirit or soul just is. So when we're talking about physical evolution, some people will argue that, it's adaptation versus evolution or whatever, but it's both. It starts and okay, let's try this again. Adaptation is the short term. From moment to moment, we're adapting to our environment. Now, after thousands and thousands of generations, our species will change slowly, either willingly or by force, and adaptation over a long period of time is called evolution. From point A to point Z times 10,000, yeah, we evolve because we've adapted to our environment. It's kind of simple once you think about it, because if you live in a cold, temperate environment, or whatever it's called, cold something or other, but say you live in Canada, over the short term, your blood is going to thin. Your body is going to learn to increase its body heat in the wintertime. Of course, you have milder summers. So your body is eventually going to adapt to that, and winters won't seem so harsh. And after, like I said, thousands of generations, if your bloodline has lived in Canada for that entire time, you will have evolved to that climate. You will have, it's adaptation and evolution are the same thing. So you're basically, you'd have to come up with a new word like evolve or whatever, but you'd basically acclimate, I guess is a good word. Through your ancestry, you would acclimate. You would be very well evolved to live in that environment. And the same thing goes for warmer climates. People near the equator, after thousands of generations, have learned, or their bodies have learned, to live in that kind of climate. And say, even if it's not just like the extreme from Canada to the equator, even if you look at people that live in northern United States and people that live like on the east coast in like Virginia, North Carolina, there's a difference in how body temperature is affected by climate, the resilience of people in those different climates. So, there's the physical, there's the spiritual, and the physical is the part where you learn the life lessons. And the spiritual is where you rest and recuperate. So that pretty much, I think that pretty much covers the spirituality part. So I guess until next time, God bless you and yours.